An unwise gentleman once said, no one man should have all that power. Rankings. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Come here. You and me. Hey, I'm red in the face. I'm flustered. Because I've constructed. We're back. Football's back. The power rankings are here. A friend of mine wrote me a Big 12 podcast and said it was the perfect Big 12 podcast. I wrote him back and said it was not the perfect Big 12 podcast because it didn't say anything about power rankings, the Big 12 running wild over the SEC and the ACC, or Gary Patterson, the Hall of Famer, joining the show. Let me. We have all of those things today. I have curated the perfect Big 12 podcast, and it is happening right now in front of you. Digest it for free as well. Power rankings time. Number one, if you hit subscribe, you get to keep my job. Those are the three topics we're doing today. Number one, Iowa State. Sue me. They have the best FCS win, which doesn't give you a lot, but the number 4 team in FCS, they beat them 55-6 or whatever it was. It was a bloodbath. Super impressive. They were 14-point favorites coming back from Ireland. We saw what Kansas State did on the jet lag from Ireland. Not easy to do. And they have what I think to be the best Power 4 win. I think Kansas State is better than UCLA. I think Kansas State is better than North Carolina. So I'm going to give Iowa State 1. TCU's 2. What about Utah? Yeah, they both went on the road. Much tougher environment for TCU. I don't know UCLA's head coach. I don't think he has 6 Super Bowls. TCU made a mockery. Highlight, spotlight, standalone game. The Big 12 was on display. TCU's at 2. And their quarterback, Josh Hoover, might win the Heisman. He threw for 4,000 yards last year, and just no one said anything. How do you get away with that? How does someone do that? Then I'm going to go Utah at 3, BYU at 4, Texas Tech at 5. So here's what we have. Number 1 has gone on the road to Ireland and beaten a Power 4 team. Number 2 beat literally Bill Belichick. Number 3 on the road, Power 4 team, Big 10 team, made them look stupid. They barely scored a point. Those are the top 3. Number 4 is BYU. The most impressive win against a bad team. The most impressive win against a bad team goes to BYU. 69 points, honor code violation. But I cannot fault them. They didn't show me their ceiling is 11 wins. They didn't show me that it has to be, right? They showed me the floor is a bowl game. This is a BYU team that's not going to be what Utah was last year without, a good, formidable starting quarterback. It's a BYU team that's going to be good. They didn't show me 11 wins. How could you, though, playing Portland State? I won't learn anything about you aside from that you don't suck. Had they lost or played a close game, BYU would be sucking and to be down the list. They are 4 today, and I don't hate it. I'm not mad about it. 5, Texas Tech. Same thing. You beat the dog out of University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. William and Mary could beat the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff if William just didn't show up. You're at 5. 6 is Arizona State. Here's where the flack comes in. they won the league last year. I did not like their game against Northern Arizona. 38-19 was clunky. It was not what a college football playoff team should do. It was not what my Big 12 champion. 17-6 at halftime. Not what my Big 12 champion needs to be putting on at home. They're at 6. They can keep moving up, by the way. These aren't so that's the power ranking. I think Arizona State is probably better. They may be better than TCU. Wouldn't be shocked by that, or BYU, right? But the power rankings are your momentum right now. How good you feel in your loins. I don't think Arizona State feels better than Texas Tech or BYU. They're 6. Kansas 7. Damn straight, dude. You beat Wagner. Heck yeah. Banana bread at work, dude. Fresno State's good. They beat Georgia Southern, so I like Kansas. They're at 7. They feel good. They feel better than a lot of the teams down the list. 8 is Houston. Houston's defense will be a problem. If your Big 12 team plays Houston this year, you are in for a problem. Willie Fritz is a good old ball coach. I have said it. This is where I will be a genius. I have said Houston may be the dark horse sneaky team to win the Big 12 championship, or at least vie for it and make all of you sad. And I will be right. Number 1, Iowa State. 2, TCU. 3, Utah. That's objective in my opinion. 4, BYU. I get it in my opinion. It's just such a misnomer. 4, BYU. 5, Texas Tech. 6, Arizona State. 7, Kansas. 8, Houston. 9, the West Virginia Mountaineers. They looked good. They feel good. They feel really good. Everyone there is excited. Rich Rodriguez has brought an entire new je ne sais quoi to the program. And I'm not going to dock them points for winning a game by a lot where they were sloppy in the first half. They didn't have the best performance against a bad team. They didn't have a better performance than Houston, but their offense looked good. Nico Marchiol looked very good. I'm going to go West Virginia at 9, Baylor at 10. There will be, yeah, I graduated from Baylor. I did. But I got to be legit. I have to be very open. They don't feel as good as Houston feels. They do not have the fan base, the locker room. They do not feel as the power arising from them is not as strong as the teams ahead of Baylor in my power rankings. The Bears are at 10. They could go 5-7. They could lose to SMU. Like, I'm sorry, the schedule's kind of brutal for Baylor. They're at 10 this week. 11, Arizona. Sneaky, my friends. You're not talking about them. I'm not really talking about them. No one's talking about Arizona. But they beat the mess, 40-6, I think. The mess this week out of Hawaii. That's an okay Hawaii team. That's not a terrible Hawaii team. Hawaii beat Stanford. Arizona, my hat goes off to you. You feel pretty good right now. Colorado at 12, Cincinnati at 13. Both of those teams did similar things, which was just lose to Power 4 opponents that might go 6-6, that might go 7-5. I think that Colorado had the better loss. I think Georgia Tech is better than Nebraska from what I've seen. So I'm going to go Colorado at 12, Cincinnati at 13. Oklahoma State comes in at 14. I don't know what to do with you. I don't know. I can't. There are some of these Big 12 teams, it's like babysitting. Oklahoma State's 14. I don't. Their quarterback situation worries me. Obviously, I love Mike Gundy. He took his shirt off this week in the press conference. They're 28.5-point underdogs against Oregon. That is brutal. 15, Kansas State. You're just sad right now. 16's UCF, by the way. Kansas State's just sad. I follow Emaw Caleb, Everyman a Wildcat Caleb, on Twitter. He basically feeds me my entire thoughts and opinions on Kansas State as a fan base. Whatever he says, I'm like, yeah, they probably mostly agree with that. And he's pretty fired up. I wouldn't be happy. You got embarrassed in Ireland. You just looked sloppy and bad in Ireland, and you have a Heisman quarterback. And then you probably should have lost North Dakota. And North Dakota's not good. I would be asking questions and scratching my head if I was you. It's not a good spot to be in. You're at 15. 16, UCF, which, by the way, I think Kansas State's better than Cincinnati, probably. Better than Arizona. But not right now. Not in the power rankings. No. 16, UCF. You are going to be a stinker, aren't you? You're going to be tough to deal with. I can tell. Number 1, Iowa State. 2, TCU. 3, Utah. 4, BYU. 5, Texas Tech. 6, Arizona State. 7, Kansas. 8, Houston. 9, West Virginia. 10, Baylor. 11, Arizona. 12, Colorado. 13, Cincinnati. 14, Oklahoma State. Your final 2 are Kansas State at 15, UCF at 16. Coming up, the ACC sucks. Hey, today's show is brought to you by Supply House. Why? Dog. I just did the house thing. I bought one of my own, and it needs a lot of work. I like having a deck outdoors. I like having a stock tank pool. I like putting things in the home to build that E word. It's equity. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, Supply House is there. 280,000 parts, plumbing, HVAC, electrical items as well. Real-time inventory, honest lead times, keeps you from punting projects. Parts, they're right there at your door. The Part Finder tool, 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs. Join the Trade Master program for free. Score previous series perks like priority shipping, lower prices, dedicated support line, supplyhouse.com. Sign up for free. Use my promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. SHCollege5, supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service with Supply House. Today's show is also brought to you by Rugiet. You're in for the best 36 hours of your entire life. Like, I don't know, man. I'm a BYU fan. Even better. If you are married and you're a BYU fan, Rugiet. You heard of Viagra. This is crazier. Beyond the usual pill, Rugiet Ready 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue, kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours. You stay confident and in control when the moment is right. And that moment may just be an entire 36 hours. Over 150,000 men have made the switch. Board-certified doctor will help you. Customer reviews are incredible as well. Rugiet.com, RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege. Use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Promo code LockedOnCollege. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved, do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. That is Rugiet. Disappointing. That's how I would describe the SEC. Disappointing. You did. You had the Auburn win over Baylor. Ka-chow. Bang. But Alabama, big mighty Alabama, they're so back. Not really. They lost Florida State, who was 2-10 last year, by the way. Reese Davis said he's not ranking Alabama in his AP poll this week. Texas loses, and ESPN's FPI still has them number 1. Funny. Texas A&M looks god-awful against UTSA. Touchdown here, touchdown there. Georgia couldn't cover against Marshall. Kentucky couldn't cover against Toledo. You were an SEC. Well, they're the best team in the MAC. All right, Daryl. Daryl from Southern Indiana, who's rooted for Kentucky his entire life. Yeah, they're the best team in the MAC. Aren't you in the SEC? 41-14 lost to Louisville. And then this is your 8-point victory against Toledo's, which you want to hang your hat on. Shout out Ole Miss. At least Ole Miss looked good. But they're going to lose to Kentucky on the road this week and further prove the SEC isn't a blender. I was not impressed. I was not impressed by how Tennessee couldn't effectively close out the game. I was not impressed with a majority of what I saw out of the Southeastern Conference this weekend. And again, Auburn beat Baylor. Guess what? And this is really bad news for most of the, and LSU could win the national championship. I'll give you like two or three of these teams are so good. You can't all be bad. But let's be very clear here. Auburn being one of the better teams in the SEC is not a good thing for you. Well, we beat the Big 12. Yeah, you beat Baylor in a fairly in kind of not a great atmosphere. And honestly, the Bears just didn't look like one of the elite Big 12 teams. Plenty of other teams in the Big 12 looked good. Baylor was not one of them. What, you want to hang your head on Auburn? The SEC is the best conference in college football. We can't go to the national championship, but at least Auburn's good now. I don't think so. You can't get away with that. Let's go to the ACC, where Stanford's losing to Hawaii. Why are we even going to the ACC? You have the greatest NFL coach of all time in your conference. And you lined him up against a kid from Rockwall Heath and Sonny Dykes. I can only imagine how good Tom Brady would have been if Sonny Dykes had been his NFL coach. And yeah, Miami's good. I think Georgia Tech's good, but the same thing. If you are the ACC and you want to hang your hat, SMU did not look good against East Texas A&M, by the way. If you want to hang your hat, Florida State beat Alabama, and now the entire country is going, well, it's fluke because Alabama sucks. If you want to hang your hat, sorry, here I go, on Georgia Tech being good. Well, the ACC is good because Georgia Tech's good. It's the exact same thing as the SEC going, well, we're good. Well, we're good because Auburn's good. That doesn't equate to much. It doesn't give you much on the national scale. It doesn't mean that you're an elite conference. It doesn't mean you look better. Wake Forest 10, Kennesaw State 9. I mean, here's the deal. A win is a win. I'll credit you that. But the ugly nature of a lot of these games, Virginia beating Coastal Carolina was maybe the most impressive thing the ACC did. Cal winning, people forget that Cal is an ACC school. But then 48-14 on your showcase America's watching game, Kirk Herbstreit's dog puts the headset on. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to say? It wasn't good. It wasn't good. The Big Ten. Let's pick on you. You're not. We'll get to the Pac-12 in a second. The Big Ten. Rutgers, 34. Ohio, 31. Well, they're one of the best teams in the MAC. So, again, we're going to go back to the Kentucky thing. If you are looking at me and saying that your 23-10 win, Minnesota over Buffalo, your 17-0 win, Miami of Ohio losing to Wisconsin, that those are something you're going to bolster your conference with because they are the best teams in the MAC. 20-17 over Cincinnati. Cincinnati, you know what they are? One of the best teams in the MAC. You know, like that's congrats. What do you want from me? Really poor showing on a night where the Big Ten got to be at the front of college football on a Thursday night where nobody else was really playing except for Big Ten schools. Everyone's watching you and hapless Boise State. And Boise State didn't look good. Boise State may be bad this year. I think you have to accept that you may also be bad this year. The Big 12, I put the Big 12 power rankings up earlier. Iowa State, TCU, Utah, BYU, Texas Tech, Arizona State. Like, let's just take those 6 schools. That is 6 of the most impressive schools you can take from week 1 that have staying power. They're not like, oh, well, guess who had a dominant win this weekend? Illinois over Western Illinois. Oh, Michigan State, slowed down Western Michigan. This is not a battle of, hey, our sucky teams are doing well. In the Big 12, our schools that were pretty much consensus top 6 or 7 going into the league are all good. Like, Baylor wasn't a top 4 or 5 team for a lot of people. We don't need Baylor to win for the Big 12 to be solid because we have so many brands that have carried good football for an extended period of time. Iowa State has been a top 10 team. TCU has been to a national championship. Utah has been a top 10 team. BYU has been a top 10 team. Arizona State went to the college football playoff, and Texas Tech just spent $17 billion on football. That's what I think is setting the Big 12 apart right now. From Michigan barely beating New Mexico. From Indiana beating Old Dominion by 13. That's what from Northwestern scoring 3 points against Tulane, who may be the best team in the Sun Belt, or the American, or the Conference USA, whatever they're in this year. Yeah, you had maybe the worst quarterback performance in college football history against an FCS school. Like, of all the teams that have played FCS schools, this may be the worst thing you could ever do, and it was Iowa against UAlbany. Iowa was scared to throw the football against UAlbany, and then Utah, 43-10, beat UCLA, who could end up winning the ACC this year. Like, UCLA could end up being in the top 3 or 4 of the ACC, and your crown jewel Clemson lost, if I may remind you, at home in a huge matchup. Well, they ran down the hill. They rode the bus. They ran down the hill. Yeah, they did those. Overall, just needed to get on the soapbox, take everybody to church. Take everybody to church for a second. Because you thought you were good. But, dog, we got like 5 or 6 guys. We rolled deep in the Big 12, and I just don't think the rest of America is really rolling deep right now. You don't get it. You wish you got it, but you don't get it. Coming up, Gary Patterson's going to join my show. Today's program is brought to you by FanDuel. When I knew the ACC sucked, I went to FanDuel. I said, FanDuel, hey, yo, could I have 250 of my finest dollars on TCU to cover? They said, sure, dog. And the second TCU covered, I got money. Right now, new customers can bet $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's right. I love using FanDuel because it's you can just kind of go in and do whatever. Like first quarter under, check, can be done. Makes the game way more exciting. Whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup, you can do all of it at FanDuel. You ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet in hopes of winning $300. That's a lot of dollars, dog. $300 in free plays at FanDuel. It's right there for you. Go to FanDuel.com. Do it today. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. I run on Game Time. College football's back. Couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries. I want to go. I want to go see BYU. I want to go see Utah. I want to see the Holy War. I'm not buying tickets yet. Why am I not buying tickets? Because Game Time, 30 minutes before the game, is going to be like, yo, we got some. Maybe even as low as $25. The app makes it super simple. I can even see the exact view from the seat that I want every week. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Promo code LOCKEDONCollege, $20 off. Swipe, tap, go, ticket, download Game Time today. That is Game Time. Coach, yeah, tonight, if you watched on ESPN, you may have heard Bill Belichick is the coach at North Carolina now. They really wanted you to know that point, but TCU shows out. They win it going away by 34 points. What did the Horned Frogs show the country this evening?
Well, number one, you knew that TCU was going to use that to their advantage because they talked a lot about Coach Belichick. I think the biggest thing they did is they did whatever they wanted to do. I thought defensively, I was looking both sides of the ball, looking for them to be real physical compared to a year ago, and they were. Play with, it seemed like an older group of players. as far as this team's concerned. Even after the first touchdown that they gave up, it didn't look like they panicked, did anything else. It was just business as usual, and that's what you want from your team.
Do you feel like TCU, and I don't want to say the Horned Frogs lost any moxie or didn't have moxie, but they didn't get the exposure coming into this game that North Carolina did. Is this a TCU team that can play incensed the rest of the season based off of this?
Well, I think reality always is somewhere in the middle. I think they have an off week, then they have Abilene Christian, and then they have really a tough 2-game. They have SMU here in Fort Worth, and then they have to go play on a Friday at Arizona State. I think you'll find out really exactly they can control their own destiny. That gets them in a situation. Grow up next week, play a 1AA, a lower Division I school, and then get an opportunity then to play an SMU team, which is always a rival. They have to come to Fort Worth, and then Arizona State that played, got in the playoffs last year. And so I think that'll say a lot about where TCU is in 2025.
10 first downs tonight from North Carolina, 1 for 10 on third down, 222 total yards. The defense of TCU, that first scripted drive for North Carolina goes perfectly. And then after that, it was all Horned Frogs. You texted in the middle of the night, though, and said, look, there are still some things that TCU can clean up. Do you think we are close to seeing Final Form TCU, or is this a squad that you see has still a much higher ceiling than what we got?
Well, yeah, I think they have plenty of a higher ceiling. I think the biggest thing for them is a year ago they struggled against the run, and they did a great job against that tonight. Again, I think on both sides of the ball, they controlled the line of scrimmage. Last year, they really played the pass well. They struggled against the run. I think Coach Dykes said it. They had to play on early downs so that they could get into longer second and long, third and long situations. And so, they did what they said they needed to do. They came in, they had to wait longer to play on a Monday night. You had to listen about Coach Belichick. You remember what I said on our show, College Football Kickoff, that it was all going to be all TCU, just being in fairness to Coach Belichick, 70 new players, a whole new staff, coordinators, everything going on. It's just that's a tough deal going against a team that won 9 games and a team that's built some history over the last 25 years. They've been there. They understand. You got a veteran quarterback coming back, so that's just hard. That's just hard to overcome.
I do want to talk about Coach Belichick and his debut here in a second, but Josh Hoover, you just mentioned the veteran quarterback. He's still got eligibility. I mean, thoughts and prayers, hopeful that he just stays at TCU forever. The kid looked great last season, maybe the most underrated 4,000-yard passer in college football. No one was talking about Josh Hoover, who was an electricity factory for TCU. Tonight, he goes 27 for 36, 284, a couple of touchdowns, looked really good on the ground when he needed to. Is Josh Hoover the most underrated quarterback in the nation?
Well, he's definitely the guy that's not been talked about much, but obviously, Tennessee tried to come in the portal and try to get him. So, I always base everything off what the coaches think. And so, that says a little bit about what Josh Hoover is. And the thing that people need to understand is, yeah, he's a really good football player. He's a really good quarterback. But the bottom line to it, he's just a great person. Again, he chose not to take the NIL, chose not to take the portal and stay at TCU, and that makes a difference in the program. If you have a guy that's your leader that wants to stay around and wants to make sure he takes care of the Horned Frogs and Fort Worth, and really that's what people don't understand. They go together. TCU and Fort Worth go together. They've both grown together in my time there, and now with Coach Dykes' time, and so really he's done a great job of really, I would say, speaking out about how much he cares about both.
Coach, another banner night for TCU through the air, and it wasn't just Josh Hoover. It was the myriad of playmakers who were right beside him. Jordan Dwyer out of the receiving room. Look, you had a ton of All-American caliber wide receivers and built some of the best passing games in college football history during your time with the Horned Frogs. Is Jordan Dwyer another name that you put up on a candidate for that Mount Rushmore of TCU wide receivers? Could he be that level of guy?
Well, the time will tell. Now he's a portal guy that came into TCU, so I think definitely what he does is he makes a difference in helping Lassiter, the guy from last season that was probably their number one wide receiver coming in. North Carolina's whole job was to take care of Lassiter and make sure he didn't have a big game. And so you need to have another guy and a tight end or some inside receiver that's going to be able to make a difference. And if you can run the ball like they were able to run the ball tonight, then it really is really hard to defend, for the simple reason you can't double team and do things if you have to add an extra guy to the run game up front. And so those are the kind of things that happen to North Carolina. And, there'll be a lot of teaching experiences on both sides of the ball for them tomorrow when they watch film.
Bill Belichick, first game as a head coach. I mean, everybody has their first game as a college head coach that has done it at the Power 4 level, and a lot of times it goes something like this. You're building a team with 70 new players, and I don't want to take a guy who's got, 6 Super Bowl rings and say that he's overrated or has lost his touch. Is this just a product of being year one, day one, 70 new guys, or is the college game so different than the NFL that adjustment is harder than most think?
Well, you found out they brought in Max Johnson, and he went 9 of 11, moved the ball a little bit better than what they had in the first 2.5, 3 quarters. I think you find out where you have to play, how you have to play coverage. Are you going to be able to be a man team? Are you going to be a zone team on defense? Do you have to add people to the box? What are your strengths and weaknesses? He lost some good players that went in the portal that left North Carolina. And so on both sides of the ball, I think they were playing with their backup center and the guy that if he got hurt was going to have never taken a snap before in college football. And so at the end of the day, I think and both teams are concerned. Reality is somewhere in the middle. TCU is going to go back and say, well, we had a great outing. We're 1-0. That's what you want to be in your first ball game. But here's what we have to do, and here's how we need to improve for us when we get to the SMU and the Arizona State, when you really start the meat of your schedule. North Carolina also has a couple ball games to get better. And I think, they'll go in, they'll watch the film, they'll start putting people where they need to put them as far as moving people around so they can mature and they can become the best team they can going forward in their, in Coach Belichick's first year in the ACC.
Yeah, I definitely don't believe that Bill Belichick has lost a touch or that he doesn't have it anymore as a head coach. And I think that North Carolina has plenty of time to put it back together with easier or what should be easier games on the schedule than what they got in TCU. Coach Gary Patterson, where can folks find more of you and follow you through all your new adventures?
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
What you got that at FB Coach P? That's Twitter, right?
Yeah. Football FB Coach P. That's how you get a hold of me on X, Instagram, all those kind of things. So just give me a holler.
He's breaking down the game every day. This is the same guy. I'm going to bring it up. 70-35. Final score to Mike Leach. 70-35. Couple years later, plays him again 12-3. This guy knows ball. So if you got a big question, at FB Coach P, he'll be breaking things down all year long. The legend, Mike Leach, incredible story I got to hear from you this past week on one of the toughest in the sport to stop. That is Coach Gary Patterson. Drake Toll with you. This has been and always will be. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Locked on Dose Grande.